Hello everyone, my name is Abayomi Ogunusi. I am one of the backend developer tutors here at Rescue Americans. So today we'll be looking at how we can build a simple REST API using Node.js, and we'll be building this application without using any external packages like Express, Core, and the likes. So let's get started. So before we get started, you need to confirm if you have Node.js installed on your PC. I'll open my terminal. You can also use your command prompt and I'll type node-v for version. So I have the version 19.00. Also, you can also confirm if you have npm installed. To check if I have npm installed on my system, I'll type npm-v. I have the 8.192 version. So I'll create a new folder. I'll call it simple API. Then I'll right click and open with VS Code. So to start with, we need to initialize our application using the npm init command. You can go to your terminal here and click on new terminal. Sorry about that. Then you do npm init. This is just to start our Node.js application by running this command. So if I click on enter, it's going to ask me a couple of questions like the name, the package name, which is the simple API. I'll click on enter. The version number, I'll choose default. Description, I'll say simple API using Node.js. I'll put raw here. That is, we are using raw Node.js with no external packages. My entry point, I will leave it as index.js. Test command, none. Git repository, none. Keywords, I'll put Node.js and API here. So your keyword can be anything like Node.js, API. If you're using Express, you can write Express there. So the author is Abayomi Ogunusi, then Rescue Americans. License, I'll leave it as default. Is this okay? I'll click yes. Now this command that we ran earlier created this package.json file. So this package.json file is the heart of your application. It stores all the dependencies that we'll be using for our application. So you have what I registered earlier on: the name, the version number, the description, the keywords, the author name, and the likes. So for us to get started, we need our main entry file, which is our index.js. I'll create one here. I'll come to this file and do index.js file. Now to show that this thing is working properly, let me just do a quick console. That is, I want to print something out into my terminal. I'll do console.log. That is, print something. I'll do hello world. Hello world. Then I'll save. I'll come here. For me to run this file, I'll come to the terminal and write node index.js. As you can see the hello world printed out here in the terminal. Okay, let me do some arithmetic with this index.js file. I'll do 2 plus 2 plus 2, which of course will give us 4. You can also clear if you have too many things showing here in your terminal, you can clear it by typing or by running this command Control plus L. So it just give us space here. So if I do node index.js again, it will print hello world, then console.log 2 plus 2 giving us 4. I'll clear my screen here so that we can start creating our web application using NodeJs. Okay, I have a number of things highlighted here, like create a server, listen to a server via a port number, then we create our endpoint. We are going to be using the inbuilt Node.js modules such as the HTTP, the URL, and the path, OS module, and so on. Now to create a server, I want to create a variable called const HTTP equals to require HTTP. So I'll wrap the name of the inbuilt module in quotes, just the convention that we use by writing Node.js, and I'll end with a semicolon, meaning that I've ended this statement here, or this expression. I'll create a server, const server equals to the HTTP that we just imported dot a method called create server, and this method takes in the request object and the response object. Now the request object is what we are sending to the server, like our payloads, like our information or data, and the response object is what the server in turn send back to us on every successful or every failed transaction. So I'll open my arrow function, then let me just print something here. So console.log, we are in the server. Then we need to listen to this server. Do server.listen. Then server.listen will takes in a port number, as we can see here. So I'll write, let me just use 4455. Your port number can range from, I think, 0 to 60,000. So then I'll write in my host name. I'll do 127.0.0.1, which means local host. So let me leave a comment here. This host name can also be called local host. So I can replace this host, these numbers here that I have here with local host. It will still work. Then we have our port number, the host name, and what we want to get on successful connection to the server. After listening to the server, we can just say console.log server is up and running. So I'll give it a quick save and remove this guy here. Then I'll open my terminal again. You can, to open your terminal very quickly, you can come to this terminal button here and click here. Then you click on new terminal, or there's a shortcut for it by pressing your Ctrl then J. Ctrl J will toggle your terminal in VS Code only. I'm not sure about other IDE. So let me just bring this one down a bit. Then to run our server, like I showed you the other time, we run this command node index.js. Then we have server is up and running. Now if I go to this host name with this port number, let me open my browser. Now do either localhost, and the port number that we exposed earlier on is what? 4455. Now this thing we get hung because we're not sending anything back to the server. So but like I logged the other time, we have console.log, we are in the server. Now I will kill the server now. That is, I want to stop the server from running by pressing Ctrl C to stop the server. Then I will hide my terminal by pressing Ctrl J so that I can work with my server here. Now, for us to be able to get response on the client side here, I mean in our browser here, we need to send something back instead of just logging or printing something to our terminal. So we need to, I want us to get information from our user interface or our browser here. So we need to send a response back to the server. It is when we hit this host name exposed on this window called 4455, which is the port number. I want to send something back. I'll do response that is coming from this response object dot end dot end. Let's just work with the Poppy API. I'll do puppies are available. Puppies are available. I'll open my terminal again. Go to your terminal here, or you press Ctrl J. Then I'll run the server again. I'll do node index.js. The server is up and running, coming from line 12. If I go back to my browser, which is my Firefox, if I refresh this page, you should see puppies are available. Again, I'll stop the server. I'll close my terminal for space. And let's create endpoints. Endpoints are different routes that you can hit. For example, now if you want to go to the home page, you hit the /. If you want to go to the about page, you hit the about page. Let me show you what I mean so that we can better understand what endpoints are. I'll come to spaceit.com. So this is the home page of this website, and this login page, if you notice on my URL bar here, if I click login, it's saying spaceit.com/auth login. So these are just the endpoint, the resource that we need to hit to get to this actual page. If I remove the auth and the login, it will return us to the home page. So in that same light, we need to create different endpoints. Talking about our puppies, we have the about page for puppies. We have the adopt a puppy page. Then at the end we have the 404 page. That is, if none of this endpoint is available, we want to return this 404 page. It is not available. When I spell that, available page. So I'll remove this. Now, to be able to get all these endpoints or resources, we need a method on the request object here. So if I do a console.log, if I do request, if I start, let me start my server now and do node index.js. Server is up and running. If I do a refresh here, you can see this request object has so many methods. There we have the HTTP parser, we have the URL and the method. The method is a get method, the status code, because nothing is being sent back by the server. We have null here. The status message is null. This is what we are aiming at to get, the URL. So if I do console.log URL, if I keep the server again and run it again, I'll do node index.js. I'll refresh my page. Can you see it's just showing this forward slash? This forward slash is showing us that it's the same thing as localhost colon 4455 forward slash, which is still our home page here. It's showing us this forward slash. So this is what we want to get. Like I said earlier, that you can replace this localhost with your with the host name that I inputted earlier on, which is 127.0.0.1, 127.0. Okay, let me stop this first. 127.0.0.1. Then we are exposing the port of 4455. Let me just confirm that. I'll create the server again. 4455. Then let me run the server. Server is up and running, coming from line 16 now. Then if I press enter here, you can see it's still giving us this path, and this path name is coming from our console.log request object.the URL method attached to it. As you can see, it is stressful killing the server and restarting the server. Now Node.js 19 has a new feature that can watch and restart your server automatically without killing and restarting. So for you to be able to use that, you need to have Node.js 19.00 or above, or the latest version of 19. So instead of killing and restarting my server, let me clear my screen by pressing Ctrl L. I'll do node -watch, then the name of our file, which is index.js, index.js, and I'll press enter. This will enable us to work seamlessly with our server without starting, killing, starting and killing our server again. I have a list of endpoints that we want to hit. We have the landing page, the about page for puppies, the adopt a puppy page. We are going to be using a conditional statement, that is the if and the else statement. I'll say if the request object coming from the parameter passed in here dot the URL method equals to just / I want to send something back to the server, and I'll do response dot end we are in the puppy landing page. So as you can see, my VS Code is restarting because I have, if you go to your file, I have this autosave. I don't want, if I click it off, you have to be saving every time. But to have a seamless coding experience, I have this autosave on. If I go back to my browser, go to my local host to the port 4455, we are in the puppy landing page. If we are hitting anything other than this / we want to hit the about page. We want to write / about page. So I'll write my else if statement here, else if request.url equals to, in quotes, about, then send back something to the server. Let me put this about page up. I'll do response.end about, okay, let's do puppies about page. I'll give it a save. Then my server has been restarted. I'll go back to my browser and I'll enter / about here. We have puppies about page here. Then for the adopt a puppy page, I write another statement, another condition that says else if the request.url equals to / adopt. Then I'll write res.end adopt a puppy here. Then my server is restarted. I'll go back to my browser. I'll remove the about page and I'll replace it with adopt. We have adopt a puppy here. It's working. Now, how can we handle page? Let me move this adopt line up. how can we undo our 404 page? That is, if I type in something adopt to adopting, if there is a word like that, adopting, you can see the server is not responding, it's just rolling. So how can we undo page not found? We have the landing page, we have the about page, we have the adopt a puppy page. So we want to handle our 404 page. Now we can have the last one as else. That is, if all these URL parameters or this endpoint are not met, just default it to this 404 page. Let me move this 404 page up. You can say else the default one should be res.end, and I'll do hoops page not found. I'll give it a save. My server is started. I'll go back to my, as you can see, the adopting is not found here, but let's try it again. Let's test another one. Let's do playground. Playground is still defaulting to this page not found because we don't have playground here in our endpoint. We only have / about page, adopt, and the default here in this code block called res.end, the page not found block here. If I test the other ones, the about page, the landing page is working, the about page is working, and the last one, which is adopt page is working here. Now, one of the principles of coding is dry. Dry means, I'll put a comment here. Dry means do not repeat yourself. We have the request.url appearing in 4, 1, 2, 3 places, so we can put it inside a variable instead of duplicating codes inside in our line 10, line 12, and line 15. So to achieve that, I'll just write const endpoint equals to rec.url here. So I have the request object and the URL method inside this variable. Now I can replace all these duplicates with endpoint, and with endpoint. This makes our code looks neater, and we are following the best practice here. So this is how we can write a very simple REST API using NodeJs with no packages like Express, Qua, and Fastify. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Now, before I leave, I would just want to highlight just one more point before I leave. You don't want to hard code your port numbers here. You can also wrap it inside a variable like const port equals to 4455. Then you can change the port here, replace it with the variable called port on line 25 here. Also the host name, I want to remove this here, and the expression on line 25, and the cost host name equals to then 127.0.0.1, and the statement here, then we can replace it with our host name. Everything should still work. Let me open my terminal. We have server is up and running. Then if you go back to your browser, to our browser, and do a quick refresh, you have adopt a puppy here working, the landing page still working. Thank you again for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial.